Thanks, Chair. Uh, Delegates, I'd like to start by thanking Lara Watson for the acknowledgement of country here this morning, not only recognising and acknowledging traditional owners, but recording the hard work that the Labor Party and our political representatives have been doing to achieve reconciliation and support our Indigenous brothers and sisters. Delegates, welcome to the 53rd Queensland State Conference of the ALP. Can I particularly welcome our new party president, John Badhams. It's been great to work with John for the past 6 months, and I know he run a great conference. Given that he keeps admin committees to short times, I'm sure he can do the same for state conference. He has big shoes to fill in Dick Williams, who did a great job in leading our party in the last 3.5 years. I'd like to recognise Dick for the great contribution he made over that time. Delegates, this year marks 125 years since the birth of our party. 125 years since trade unionists said that industrial action alone is not enough and that we must be part of a labour movement for social and political change. Don't believe the nonsense about the ALP starting in New South Wales. It started right here in Queensland. Our party here in Queensland is rich in tradition and rich in achievement. We've elected Labor governments that we can all be proud of, and none more than the Queensland Labor government led by Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk. Our Labor government has got on with the job of rebuilding Queensland after 3 years of Campbell Newman and Tim Nicholls without the fuss and without the fights. We've shown that hard work, not picking fights, is how we make Queensland a strong, safe and prosperous place to live. We've rebuilt hospitals and schools decimated by funding cuts and sacked staff. We've rebuilt our state's credibility on infrastructure, building infrastructure where it contributes to jobs and productivity. We've rebuilt our tourism sector with all of the jobs that brings for regional Queensland. But most importantly, we have a Premier that's rebuilt the trust of the people of Queensland. We should all be very clear. We've been given this opportunity to rebuild Queensland because Queenslanders trust Anastasia Palaszczuk to listen, to fight for Queensland and to be on their side. Let's not underestimate that achievement. As divisive politicians have prospered in recent years by playing on fear and mistrust, we have a Premier who Queenslanders have looked to and listened to and trust. We have the opportunity to bring Queenslanders with us on reforms that have previously been seen as too hard. Just look at the removal of 17-year-olds from adult prisons. This has been something we've debated at conference for a long time, but this government has finally done it by bringing Queenslanders with us. But as we head into the second half of this term, there's a clear path to election victory, and the campaign to win the next election starts with everyone in this room. As the redistribution progresses, we'll start to pre-select candidates to win seats that we need to retain government. The challenge ahead for us is not easy. Our unique parliamentary circumstance means that we actually have to win new seats to retain government, and I know we can do that. But right now, our number one priority must be to build our campaign team. We know that we are decades ahead of our Conservative opponents in direct voter contact. We have a capacity to persuade thousands of Queenslanders through conversations on doorsteps. We can only do that if we are welcoming new people to our campaign. In the 2016 federal election campaign, 38% of our volunteers in target seats weren't party members. We know that there are many Queenslanders out there who want to make a progressive Queensland, but need us to give them the chance to join our campaign team to sell our message. I make no apology to local campaign teams when they get sick of me asking about volunteer recruitment and organising in their local campaigns. The days of our branch member list being the only source of volunteers must be behind us. We can build a bigger, better community campaign with hundreds of volunteers talking to voters, not tens of volunteers, but hundreds of them. Our party is just one part of that broader Labor movement, and we have always been willing to build a coalition to win elections. The more people in our coalition, the stronger our campaign. But the one thing we won't do is make preference deals with One Nation. While the LNP and Tim Nicholls have 4 different positions on 4 different days, our position is clear. We'll put One Nation last. I want to thank local campaigns across Queensland for their extraordinary campaign for the 2016 federal election. Bill Shorten ran a great campaign, fighting to the end for every Queensland seat. And you've heard from Bill today about the extraordinary effort in our local campaigns. The reward for that is 2 new Labor MPs for Canberra from Queensland, Cathy O'Toole in Herbert and Susan Lamb in Longman, as we start the long march to reclaim Queensland seats for federal Labor. But let's be clear, there's a long way to go. We hold only 8 out of 30 seats. We need many more for there to be Labor governments here in Australia. Frustratingly, we ended up with less than 10,000 votes between us and winning 5 more seats here in Queensland. These are the seats that it will take to win government for federal Labor. Our Labor team has come out of the federal election united with a strong sense of purpose, while Malcolm Turnbull has neither unity nor purpose. As people work out that Turnbull has always wanted to be Prime Minister, they also work out that he's not really sure why. We know that we can win these Queensland seats with a strong Labor agenda for jobs, health and education. Bill has earlier this morning outlined his plan to win seats in Queensland, and we're joined here today by Noah Carroll, the new National Secretary of the ALP. The Queensland branch is looking forward to a strong relationship with Noah and his team at National Secretariat. We know that we can do a strong local campaign with strong cooperation between the National Secretariat and the Queensland branch here. I know that everyone in this room is building to make Bill the next Labor Prime Minister in 2019. Well, that's at least if Turnbull can last that long. I want to thank the extraordinary effort by affiliate unions and branch members across Queensland for the 2016 federal election. Despite everyone writing us off when the election started, you threw everything at it. But you know that. It's what we've been doing for 125 years. I also want to pay tribute to Rod Harding and the BCC local government team for the 2016 local government elections. Rod did a fantastic job giving up a year of his life to campaign for the party he loves. Although we didn't get there, the 2016 result was our best since we lost power in BCC in 2004, putting us within striking distance of Quirk and his LNP team. I know Peter Cumming and his team are slugging away every day to keep Quirk and his councillors honest. And as we enter the 2016 conference, our party continues to grow. More members continue to join our party. We're in a strong financial position and local branches continue to build strong local campaigns. I'd like to thank all of the staff at Party Office for their work throughout the year, particularly John Pursley, the Assistant State Secretary. 3 elections in 18 months is a tough ask for the State Office team, but you've all done a fantastic job. The task of pulling this conference together is also an extraordinary one, and thank you for all your efforts over recent weeks. Delegates, I started as an ALP official just weeks after the 2012 election loss. It was our party at its lowest ebb. But every year since, I've seen our party grow and prosper. We now have more ALP members in Queensland than in any year since we started keeping electronic records. The relationship between branches, affiliates and parliamentarians is growing stronger and stronger, and we are ready to campaign. But that's because of all of you. Thank you for your enormous contribution to our movement in the last 12 months. It's an honour to be the State Secretary of Queensland Labor. I hope to do you proud.